There are issues, it just has me, I'll be sort of keeping on that.
Well, this is positive, at least we've got something going on YouTube.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Hey everyone, sorry about that, technical difficulties. So we will begin on page 1 of the paragraph. On sending responses. Giving you over maybe can you read exactly that actually,
Well, okay, sure. Page 1, please. All others sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path of liberation and calm means, may they experience happiness and be separated from something. I really just understand the state of the most perfect and precious Buddha. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. All sentient beings never possess the sky, take refuge in the glorious, kind, Brahma-Shakti-Pana. The embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas, and directions, and the true times. Stories of the 84,000 categories of the teaching and lore of the science. We take refuge in the kind root line and lineage. We take refuge in the deities of the Mandalas and Gita. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect time. We take refuge in the excellent order of the sun. We take refuge in all venerable goddess and kings and honor guardians, possessors of the isles.
Namge Dadai Nyambe Samchen Tamche Chuje Dure Songje Deye Yegwa Nam Yeje Ko Son Poi Yangchen Chenlen Tong Jeje Ngo Yorba Chuje Gongbo Dongdai Jeje Daje June Abe Gendu Dong Jeje Nada Tenje Zawa Tong Jubare Jebe Parande Lama Tangpa Tangla Jiaosi Jie Li dang jing gui jie la zuo tang lai jiu zi jie wui sang jie jing dian jie dang la jiu zi jie wu an tan bi jiu dang lai jiu zi jie wui gong bi yin du dang lai jiu zi jie wu Bao gan rui zhe zhuan song me zui yi ji ji jian dan dan pan nong lai jiu zi qi.
Until I came to the heart of the mountain, I take refuge in all Buddhas. I take refuge in Dharma, what causes the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embrace the enlightened mind and progress on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give praise to Bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
Zhang jiu yin bo jie jie huai sang jie nong lai jiu zi jie yin jiu dai zhang jiu zong pai ye zuo lai pi yin jiu zi jie jie dai wu jie dai jie jie zhang jiu tu ni ji ba dong Chang ju sen be la ba lai, te lai ren xin ye ba dar, de yen lo lai pen dong de, chang ju sen ne jie jie shen, en ti yen de ne la ba lai, ren ba yin de la ba rai jie.
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most desolate, I take refuge in the door of wickedness reach. I bear to the generosity and brotherly deeds. May I maintain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
我三界有道因不见，就能来长久不得道内调自见，大给人所今别所能见，都来人间三界都报数。
May all other sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from a happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
吾嘛能盖大娘别三千当劫，地瓦当地为具当天白具界，东阿当东阿具当地为具界，东阿灭别地瓦。 灭我出界，灭来交代你 da la li bar chu
The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is one. The one whose renown is evident throughout the three worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the three levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those who need to name. The one of us gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Shravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way. Round bases for oceans of barren qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma, to prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the three minor streams, that feel the sublime qualities. To the Son, I also promise. And then back to page 9.
Namo Nonze Nandar Lama Nonze Yegen Sun Johan Kamso Yondara Zorwan De Korwa Tungto Sui Jinjelo Jiye Narva Toke Masai Jumbi Jarve To Jimbi Ye Mada Teve Tani Kage Ruwa Jumde Rambo Che Dasem Ye Jamane Sorwande Jenye Jamande Jenje Lo Sandone Jemye Namdande Londe Jugo Lobare Jenje Lobai Yon Dede Deje Yebai Da Jomba Yonda Bara Tobe Sanje Rebai Da Yasa Demba Devare Yebai Jeden Jemba Jivan Duwai Kaloi Jova Lanam Beba Ladam Namje Natumbai Nyami Shai Jijarbai Shabje Dui Tema Mebala Angova Rade Kode Kuwe Chanza Kande Kanye Doi Jodante Sachen De Lai Bombai Dungwarane Ngane Jikan De Nai Choje Song De Kebai Je Lai Chonze Ananda Gongai Choda So Song Yishe Janto Zerje Nukwanda Antabai Jeda Zonai Lanye Wa Gomboy Jonye Jelai Chanzalo Antenjo Dembai Jimmy Davi Sarandoi Dawa Jelai Chanzalo Adire Jude Saba Zonai Zi Yame Chen Jelai Chanzalo Nyamenjo Duwa Kaloi Junze Jen Gunjoran Chunghai Junze Tiyen Ombo Shedai Nye Shelan Ki Nye Yui Shoba Dalai Changza Angombo Tongje Chetenba Tongje Chenpe Tongpa Sono Yunten Jiangzuo Xin ye lai chang zi lo ta bian da jia ji wei ji ge wei nian song le zhou xin jie de gong zang jiu jiu ro ai xie jiu ro jiu lai chang zi lo zhou ne zhu wei lang yang dong ba ba da lai rao de ge qian ge dang ba yang de jie gen de lang yang chang zi.
And then page 15. I prostrate to the youthful entries to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, there are all the lions among humans who appear during the peace times. To all of them, without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single island there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of his sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmakaya completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Siddhartha. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloths, supreme scents, and powers equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyekabuddhas,
those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the
Buddhas of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, returning the unsurpassable Dharma leading. I supplicate with my palms joined together, those who intend to demonstrate Nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as heavens in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated, through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating, to enlightenment.
Page 16.
Page 16. Please adjourn the will of the Dharma of the 2 vehicles and their combination, according to the disposition and mental capacities of each individual.
Samje namje samba tong koye che dai che da ba che chon de mo de ba ye jo je ko lo du dam ge do je ga je so do je je ma do de je bon jo ma se je lu bo da wa je ge xiao jie jie rui xiao le gu jiao zhe mei wo zi du jie jing gu de ma de xie jie mu wo jie da wa tam ji zi ba gun jian ju jie 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 mei de gu de jian gu jiao zi ju jie 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 guo dong de du zong jie gun jian gu wo ang sam jiao ge wo zong dong zai bei zai bei la mei xiao le gu jiao zi Sembrando tamjin de ye she no mo ya la ye de don le don de ye de don ye ge nam ne do wa ge je de ge je don ba tamjin de de don de jo de. Good afternoon. So today is I think we got a bit issue. So how is the sound? I don't know.
So let me, okay, so if you want to think what
What
we're
you're gonna have to do is when I speak, you're gonna have to mute, and when you speak, I'm gonna have to mute. So ha- okay. I'll mute you in there. Okay, no? Oh, because, oh, no, I know what I have to do. Okay, hang on. It's the. Okay, so can you all hear me fine?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Yes,
Virginia.
okay.
I asked you to unmute. It took me a while to figure it out.
Let's just see. We'll both do it at the same time. I think that should work. So if now Dachirang Sichitsung.
Hello.
So can you both hear us fine? Can you hear both of us fine?
I can hear you, Virginia.
That's great. Okay, perfect.
You both speak at the same time.
어떤 얘기네? 당가서 가장 다시 당가서 기회들이 좀 이기는 기타 지금까지 extensive 기능을 갖다 뭐 가장 힘을해서.
So picking up where we left off yesterday in His Holiness's explanation of the generation stage process, we'll continue with his instructions on this.
뒤에다 계산가서 these della 딱 갈색 extensive 도로 generation 베지파 그거는 이렇게 제가 참아라 including 이제 history네 중공네 지네 딱 뭔가 실제 리얼에 된듯네요. 딱 디스코 남성양 지 하고 투비하다 디스 갈릭하고 여러와 예민해요. 어때네? 딱 맞아 지 차상하고야 돼. 지 맞아 게 고요 말이 장소게 고투 말이 니네요. 동화소가 리뷰 지금 맞아 틀리지요. 맨날 extensive 이제 하고비나 근데 뭐 말하면 저기 short version down middling 왜냐면 집에 가서 this area로 어떻게 이해하기 힘들어요.
So first of all, these instructions from His Holiness are very extensive. So they're extensive. There's a lot of information there. They're difficult. A lot of it is difficult to understand. Some of it includes history, which is also like particularly complex. But we can also kind of the benefit of getting this sort of overview is that then also when it comes to the sadhanas, for instance, like there's the extensive sadhana, the kind of middle length sadhana, the very concise sadhana. So when there is an understanding of all of the detail, the complexity, the extensiveness of this practice, then it also helps in having that basis of understanding for when we do, for instance, a shorter length practice, like the middle length practice or the shorter practice, then they're kind of like the based on the understanding of the more extensive version, then there's also like greater understanding in the shortened versions that comes too. Like we know, what's kind of left out or what's, part of it, but is abbreviated there.
Tieni tirano yi ketaya tanda di ta ko pechate ya chimbo jigre tieni tirano yi ta ngaso ji English or rock translation lo ma to chayo maris tieni ta ko ji maomba lo yi na yang ko ji ko English translation tieni ko complete lo cha to bya tieni so ta rewa yoris.
And also, we just have like the access to the preliminary translation, and not only that, but a lot of changes have been made to the text since this original draft was translated. But in the future, it's certain that the English translation will be completed, and all of the revisions will be made both to the English and the Tibetan, and that this will likely become widely available.
또 갈세나 된다 기 지효대 다양 지 조가 힘발로이나 아주 조가 코로나서 베네뎀 조다위나 다마서 지 상마게 familiar 레라오 요레 갈세나 냐나 진게망보 조가 대양들이 조가 다가 코로나 요레 트리 인디드니 보디스 레라 요레스 TV ina yang ta ji je do je de ji jamon mo che ke ga di ne ne ji de chou de chi li yo ta chou de ke yang ko chi ge ko yao de dang bi yo lo de de yang ne di si kar se go ta ko ta da yang ko ji chou wa de ji ka to ko ran be de do ya is ka bo res
And it's still also not only that, but so the most important part of this practice, of course, is to have the sadhanas, and like with something like Chakrasamvara, those sadhanas are already like well established. We're all really familiar with those, but this sadhana for Hebadra, due to the kindness of His Holiness Chetsang Rinpoche, he has arranged these sadhanas, for the practice of Hebadra, but it's a process too of like refining and there continue to be, for instance, changes. So this is also sort of like an ongoing process of just knowing that we're in a period of formation with all of this, that with the, this establishment of these Hebadra practices.
Tiene da 가상 가서 tiene 뭐 정보 다기 kinda tiene 맞아 다 데리 호이 메기레고 티 로심바리 tiene 다 기후가 양초 직다단 가서버리 직 하모리 기치리 가리용 기슈미스.
So yesterday, where we left off was on the discussion of the four immeasurables. So if you remember, there was also like Lord Jigten Sumgön's explanation of the feeling, for each of the four immeasurables, like how to relate to that experience or that feeling of their arising. So now, where we are in the text is also they're picking up with how each of the goddesses or the dakinis are connected with each of the four immeasurables.
That so to me sana dojeti ba tepatar amde ran je dojeti tuka tuki hongi wazer mumbu kinele ene hamu pugasse do mumbu 今天他听到没多呢？这恰呢，讲去头吧，是吧？讲去头吧，八米的周边，今天生前他们去，电话当这位剧堂，连把起来是，天天讲去的，看着宠物了的是，那边呢，你前把子你跟我，宠物了的，天天呢，那不该是个的呢，恐慌了，我的是。
So it says in the text, in this context, and with regard to the uncommon Vajra vehicle of mantras, oneself is Hivadra. From the whom and one's heart is Hivadra, blue light rays radiate. From the tips of those light rays, countless blue goddesses, or emanations of the goddess Pukasi, appear, granting beings happiness and the causes of happiness. So Pukasi is blue in color, and she's holding hooks, an iron hook, and so that iron hook represents the immeasurable love. So then she draws in happiness for all sentient beings. One thinks that beings are established in the state of Pukasi, which is the essence of immeasurable love.
Represent of Karchigurtina, that's simply short lava donkey, Yunakini Maimba, Karsen, Simchendi, Jika Carson was Ninji Chembo, Chamba Chembo, Onium Chembo. Gawa Chimbo, Tiliji Mo, the Dick Simpian Tampi, Kotoba, Dotoba, Tiliji Euro, that in the winner also, Tinitanda, Hamo, the Latine, Chita Lacharmos, Hamo, Jachumas, Tini Shawamas, Tini Tumas. Several last one. So he's also
Soon, Charlie.
Jaroma. That woman do that. Jaromas, the Kaliga Tonga.
Yeah, okay. So each of the four goddesses are effecting or enacting the benefit of beings through the activity of the four immeasurables. So bringing sentient beings, into the states of these four immeasurable Brahma Viharas. So great compassion, or great love, great compassion, great joy, and great equanimity. So you have the goddess of the iron hook, or Pukasi, and then the goddess of holding the lasso, and the goddess holding the bell, or affecting the immeasurables, the four immeasurables with the bell, and the goddess with the iron shackles.
That the other thing that Nima wrote down to Kabi non roachment, la Pomache, la Viore, and teach son idea, Judge Shapa Jarotis,
And so this is the same, for instance, in the Enigma practice of the 8 Herukas. There are the 4 gatekeepers who also hold these same 4 hand implements. So an iron hook, a lasso, iron shackles, and a bell.
That's interesting. That's magic. That 지금 못달라더니 라화를 짜잡 치도그로와 참가 동황다비요래 이나 당원이 지나디 당가서 동황도 그 누구를 쓰려도 이제 오늘이 지금 누구로 인데 손으로 이제 리티네 조신시 딱 거지 못달라지 세프 지 노바 마용이 치더라고 어다지 키운 거와 동황다라 소요로 진리 similarly 가진다 지
So may Songkangwa, they can save Zoyala, or may Shimba save Zoyala.
다 그런 게 되네 기술 동항로는 가서 보내리기 고통으로 그래서 두고로 그러와 이런 거는 정말 와 세프 그런 세프요 때문에 고통하마다 남의 지식이와 오다 듣는 얘기 되네 제가 양대가 뭐는 I don't know the government or police they really love them or not but 인다 거지 돈아 데려와 되는 이 단다디라 가서 심지엔다 담기비 세와 친구 그러와 되네 인기 친구 기기스미야답니다 고지 기 지기어레스베
And so also, if you think about it, even like kind of these really kind of frightening prison guards, for instance, might hold maybe similar things or have similar hand implements like the iron shackles. And, you know, on the one hand, like we can think of them as like, you know, sort of scary or bad, you know, putting people in prison. But actually, when somebody goes to prison, on the other hand, they're also kind of like keeping them safe. So they're locking them up and keeping them safe so that the person who is imprisoned is not, you know, able to continue doing all sorts of like harmful and negative things. And also so that harm doesn't befall them. They're like locked up in prison, you know, and in a way like they're kind of kept safe. Even though, you know, whether or not, you know, the police or the government actually has love for those beings, you know, we don't know. But in this case, it's kind of like, you know, these beings are sort of, or these deities are also kind of like prison guards, but they are motivated out of great love and compassion for sentient beings.
다 lastly 제가 대신도 특히 홍리 was a 깔고 개내래 3월 주마 깔모서 제가 향과 봐 바도 미바도베 심지엔 탐지 이제 동의기 주당 제바 제바 치대 인게 재미비 3월 주미 공부하고 바레스
So likewise, from the home in one's heart, red light rays radiate, and from the tips of those light rays, countless red goddesses, or countless emanations of Chamdali, holding iron shackles, appear and fill beings with happiness, drying up their suffering. One thinks that they are established in the state, that all beings are established in the state of Chamdali, which is the essence of immeasurable joy.
대신도 근데 특히 홍리 어제 말고
Oh, whoops, sorry. That was sorry, so I read the wrong one. So the one that we just did was likewise from the hung in one's heart, white light rays radiate, and from the tips of those light rays, white goddesses who are emanations of Shavari, holding lassos appear and free beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. One thinks that they are established in the state of Shavari, which is the essence of immeasurable compassion. And then the next one is Chamdali.
대신도 두개 홍래 워자말 부케 내래 하모 돌와모 말모 차나테네 자로 호바 아도 메버투비 심견담지 대화당 네 동아당 제와 가와 치미비 하모 돌와모케 공황라고 벌삼스
So this is what I read before, which is from the hung in one's heart, red light rays radiate, and from the tips of those light rays, countless red goddesses, emanations of Chandali, holding iron shackles appear and fill beings with happiness, drying up their suffering.
대신도 전에 다 기타 그 wasn't trusted 가센들이 초보랑 단다디 제도지 공대와 디 tuk한 was 초보여와 또 통분이
So also, so as it says from the hung in one's heart, but we're meditating on ourselves in the form of Hivadra. So it is from Hivadra's heart center that these rays of light are emanating, from the hung syllable at the heart, and then these goddesses are emanating.
답변 자샤는 단단하고 있다. 기타는 태요로와 이다 상계당 장주 선바 이담 그조게 되네다 두와 세나레 테네드네 담랑어서 태요와 히 심장의 동치바라 되네 희외본의 심장 동치바 되네 가르세나 왕그 보네 되네 심장 동치바 되네 자고본의 심장 동치바 오다 희지 차라서베 오다 딘디게 예배본의 되네 심장 동치바 되네 용으로 오다 되나 얘기 다다다 가르세나 제도 제게 되네 심장 동치야라다 재미히게 보내와 닝게게 동치바 되네 참배게 동치바 바베게 동치 가베 공부라 동치바 되네 오다 되네 치비오레스
And so the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and Yidam deities send out emanations, limitless emanations that affect the benefit of beings through the four activities, the four enlightened activities. So like peaceful activities, wrathful activities, magnetizing activities, and increasing activities. And here Hivadra, in a similar way, or connected and related, but also specifically, through the activity of the four immeasurables, Hivadra is affecting the benefit of beings. So through activity of immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joy, and immeasurable equanimity.
달라스 대신도 있다. 제도리 tukane 홍래 두개 홍래 오잖아 저번 두배 나 저배 되네 내래 사모 내래 사모 용모 다 용모대 차나 제부터 봐 미버 두배 년에 차관이던 제외 대화 아니 지미베 뭐
And then, likewise, from the home in one's heart, multicolored light rays radiate, and from the tips of those light rays, countless goddesses, or emanations of Dombini, holding bells, appear, and free beings from attachment to what is attractive and aversion to what is unattractive. One thinks that they are established in the state of Dombini, which is the essence of immeasurable equanimity.
재미히 지고라 되는지 다 보통은 뭐 정말 해 되는 로선 다들 차버리스 다 디제라 네 다 디제라 네 조체면 돈다베 해네 해 관계 기반 남반남직 해 관계야들라 네 당아도 남반남직 이나다 이나 아요서와 요레스 네 제작 돌제스비 이나스 네 왕고르와들라 미주바 가상마서 나서 미주바 제가 왕고야들 야와를 그거 나서 봐도 상황도 히라이히 그거 저와라서 요티다 미주비 TV면디 미주바리 소소 미주바디
So, conta wangshiki koyakarisu.
제가 다 왕노도 되는 거 왕히라서 요르바 왕히는 분배 왕요래 상회 왕요래 히라비히 왕요래 지왕요르바 태가는 이거 텐다 분배 왕에나이나야다 야와래 나케나 왕요르바 이나다 된다 왕고리라 같이 미주비야 하는데 또 제효 야와래 니케나니 미주와 자체들이 송송 미주고
Dilla.
있고 님생 가르세나 미주가 왕들라 네 아주 용배 다 용바 나게노니 용바 할서들
Shadam.
누쇼디 네 현황차리요로 디에기는 예모도 줘와 네 미주가 왕들 탄다 디나가 왕고요 이나요 대다 미주가 향로 왕고로라 미주비이나 하스
And so then there are these different activities of the four immeasurables accomplishing the benefit of sentient beings. And then also we had the explanation of what the feeling or experience is of meditating upon or developing each of these four immeasurables. And so then that completes that section. Then as it says in the text, it continues and it says, Mahasiddha Durja Chandra asserts that there are 6 limbs. Creating the immeasurable palace is the limb of Vairochana. To be fully invested or having passionate concern or for beings, essentially, passion is the limb of Vajrasattva. Empowering is the limb of Akshobhya. Tasting the nectar is the limb of Amitabha Chit Samalo Imbe. Okay, so then empowering is the limb of Akshobhya. So also, as was mentioned, I think yesterday, that the 4 empowerments, so in empowerment, we have the 4 empowerments of the base empowerment, the secret empowerment, the wisdom awareness empowerment, and the word empowerment. And then within the base empowerment, you have the empowerments of the 5 Buddha families. But here, like principle, and as it was said, is like most important of these in this case is Hivadra. And the reason for that is because of the 5 afflictive emotions, kind of the worst or the kind of strongest of the afflictions, or most the worst of the afflictions is anger. And Akshobhya is like the purified essence of anger, or the mirror-like wisdom. And so he becomes the antidote to the afflictive emotion of anger. And so that's why here he's the limb of empowerment. And so then it says, so each of these are all the different branches of the 5 Buddha families, or limbs of the 5 Buddha families. So tasting the nectar is the limb of Amitabha, making offerings is the limb of Amoghasiddhi, praising or reciting praises is the limb of Ratnasambhava. So together, these make up 6 limbs of the generation process. The 6 limbs of the 5 Buddha families. So the main part of the generation process are the 6 limbs. So the first of these is generating the immeasurable palace, the limb of Vairochana. The reason for that is that Vairochana is the essence of the body of all Buddhas. In the same way that the body is the support for the speech, mind, and so on, the palace is the supportive place, or the support for all the Buddhas who dwell there, or who are abiding within. And then meditating on emptiness is the means, which is the means of gathering the accumulation of wisdom.
다티 랑케 닝게 홍레 워젠 투비 노진지케 쥬라두스 태양 르라두 태양 태 예메수 두비 닝베마 답지라템 태 니마라템 태홍 협주 하 다체 티글레 나다 남바다고사
So from the Hung in one's heart center, light emanates. It dissolves the vessel, or the world, into its contents, sentient beings, and then they dissolve into one's body as the deity. The body dissolves from top to bottom and condenses into the 8-petaled lotus in the heart. In turn, the lotus dissolves into the sun disk and into the Hung, from the Shapju or the U at the bottom, into the Ha, into the crescent moon, into the Bindu, and into the Nada. And this is what is referred to as bringing the Dharmakaya onto the path.
티니다 조렘라 마초티니 기페네 제렘라 오인비나 양티니 제렘라 카리얼세나 제게지 종치 세야나 그거는 이게 되네 초아 숨치 세야라고 또 그거는 이게 놀지 히치 세야라 소바다 그거는 이게 원장같이 세야 고지 제렘 원이나야 만다만다 텐데 용구도와 요레스 그가는 이렇게 조람도 의미나 단단히 조람이 직도람티스 제파는 거래 제파의 가르스나 대송과 홍게니까 변화 담보 치게 높이 지ken다 담지되네 소 담보 여기 높이 지ken다 담지 소두 높이 지ken다 담지 주 심지하나템 송래 주 심지하나템 다 상상해서 점도 조진 나오냐 근데 여러 점도 조진이 오이나 점도 그 조진들라 너워서 담비나 되네 담보 치게다 유베이 등용 정도와 배 유이 등용와 다 현감 딜리 유요래 들어가는 얘기 때문에 유들라 되네 가서가다 매도당 대 최당 소당 딜리 유와 딜리지 노 빈지간 티나네 지 추이나 옌데 딜리지 지라 추이나 지탄데 말와 I think this the get love your the visualization.
So they need the new jigdin aten, didn't
So can't allow to 그가는 이다 소요로 소들아요 주의나 디탄데마 걔네 디지라 되네 박sam지 동보 송도와 박sam지 동보 네 박sam거 동보 되네 일강 아이와 오다 근데 가서 몸으로와 일강 아이와 되네 일가 되요 되네 일강 아마다 일가 해요와 동보 되게 알아와 되네 동보가 라라 되네 가서 주비게 라마 요와 되네 일베 킨두토라 되네 예담 요와 되네 예술라 되네 산지 샤샤토가 조지비 되네 제가와서 산지 동선이 효요와 네 야기르가노서 뭐 담비나야 되네 제 염청 혈압지 바로도 준비 네 주 되네 효요와 되네 예술라 갈세남 예외 세천지 정도와 장접스마 예외 세천지 자명 참여들이 계란세 사이닝고 도바 넘버세 남기닝고 참박권도 상
physical organize budget organize didn't
사이닝고 도바 넘버세 사이닝고 도바 넘버세 tene namki nyingbo, chamba, kono sambo. O tene ke, tene laso ke tene, changshuk simbi ke tene, nindu, talko dewa. Tene ke gong, teyang tene teke tala, tene, 이게见到那个松嘛，松多이게见到那个松嘛，그냥한테는松嘛的时候呢，就协会的呢，다 간로라서 봐,协会的松嘛的时候呢，저现场的路呢，달라去모르다든지 칠만로 송접시야, 걔네 라타고, 또 정말 카파, 회생.是吧？那企业的呢，企业的呢，国际老师话没有，那那经是公务员了。我在这公务员的那个resign开始那个 brand 的给他了不了，resign 了不要的，他们家人们那个都送了的，看是都不好空了。我在听的了去的，他听的听的给企业弄听的有啊，那个就听的他那边的就不出现了说有啊，的了听的怎么方便呢？听的企业弄他可能。
That's but yun ang tigre pati. Anthony?
Digo, no lo hago.
Oh,
What
maybe
is?
okay. Yeah. Anthony? 진리네.
진리입니다. 당연히 카드 그리 라비다 치기노 핀지 캔다 담기베 당연히 요이 경우다 담기라. 근데 주 기생캔다 담기라 봐도 그리 zonson. 근데 생전 뒤나네 다 배네 점로 소진이라고 이나. 근데 점로 소진도 참마네 다 갈래 담기베 에지 동보 일가게다 수지바도 참마 갈래 봐도네. 근데 가서 딱 가서 점로 소진 뒤라고 임비나. dorje changwa du gwa dorje changwa du tene dorje chang tiang khale khale pa du bi pa la tene hong lo du gwa tene hong du ta da no yi de de chi ya la ya ro ta tene no yi tene nga so ta jerem to lo rem ni ko ko de dorje nyang ta lo go sa ro.
So what this is the dissolution, or the completion stage, the dissolution that that then transitions into the completion stage. So when we practice the generation stage, so there's the different stages of the arising of the enlightened form of the deity, which are like different numbers of kind of stages of generation that occurred with the different types of birth. So there are the 4 types of birth, birth, miraculous birth, birth from a womb, birth from warmth, birth from an egg, or birth from warmth and moisture. And then these also correspond with the different types of generation, like, so for instance, there's the instantaneous generation of the form of the deity where it just arises all at once. There's the generation of the deity in 3 stages. There's the generation of the deity in 4 stages, which is referred to as the 4 Vadras, and the generation of the deity in 5 stages. Sorry, my phone is on. The 5 stages of arising, and so there are these different stages of or these different types of arising stages of arising of the form of the deity. And then there's also when once we have like the full mandala is generated, and then there's kind of like the gradual dissolution and stages of the mandala of the deity, of the visualization of the deity, until one rests in the completion stage. So it begins with, the dissolution of the outer container, which is like the universe, and then the beings therein, like beginning, for instance, with the universe as the pure celestial palace. And this we can think of, maybe some of you are familiar with, for instance, if you're practicing refuge, then there's the way in which the dissolution of the refuge tree happens, at the end of the session before we kind of rest in the completion stage. So first, there's the there we have, the field of refuge, the refuge tree, and surrounding, like the container of that refuge tree, is like a beautiful, kind of exquisite Buddha field, or pure realm, with the kind of like most exquisite of flowers and really beautiful lakes, and there's like a great ocean endowed, with the kind of qualities of the 8 branches. And then from that there is the and then there's the from that there's the trunk of the refuge tree that comes out of the lake, that is, and so this is abiding within, this pure realm, this pure Buddha field. And then you have the the different branches of the tree itself that come out of the trunk. There are the 4 branches, with the central trunk, or kind of the branch of the main trunk, being the 5th. And on the main trunk or branch, you have, or the central branch or trunk, you have all of the lineage lamas, and Vajradhara, Jigten Sungha, and then in front, the branch coming out in front, you have the Yidam deities, all of the Yidam deities with Chakra-sambhara at the center, and then on the branch coming out to the right, you have Buddha Shakyamuni surrounded by the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate kalpa. And then in the branch coming off to the back, you have Prajnaparamita, or representing the sublime Dharma, or all of the volumes of scripture. And then on the branch to the left, you have the noble sangha, being like the bodhisattvas, all of the especially the 8, like at the center, the 8 close sons, or the 8 bodhisattvas, being Avalokiteshvara or Chenrezig, Manjushri, Vajrapani, Maitreya, Mahastam, Stama Prabda, Samantabhadra, Siddhigarbha, and Sarvana Nirvana, and Vish Kambin. And then you have and they are surrounded by all of the bodhisattvas. And then you have all of the Dharma protectors endowed with the wisdom eye. So the peaceful protectors are facing inward, and they are protecting all of the attainments that are generated, so that they don't slip out, all of the cities, so that they remain within. So, and while all of the wrathful protectors are facing out, warding off obstacles or harmful influences. And then as you dissolve this refuge tree, then you have each, step by step, the outer container dissolves into the kind of tree, and then each of the stages of the tree gradually dissolve one into the other, and then the tree itself, the branches dissolve into the trunk dissolves from bottom up into into Vajradhara, who then dissolves into the Hung, and then the Hung dissolves step by step, from the bottom up, until the entire visualization has disappeared.
Ông kẹp chữ là số có thể dễ lỗi là
So the same as it's described here, so that there's, from the shapyu or the kind of hook, the u vowel hook at the bottom, into the short into the ha, into the top of the ha, into the crescent moon, into the tigle, into the nada, and then into space.
So here actually page we have the Vajra text page 11. So this is so a little bit harder English here. So I can we can finish the break maybe a little bit on the Racha Soha, so we can what it means a little bit talking about we come back. But also here is I think really easy or important is the refuge tree. So also my service, maybe this is easy to this be parable, maybe easy with this English I will all the same thing.
Which page? Which page of the Hivadra
Page 11. But this English is
Oh, his has the one with the Tibetan
Oh, sorry.
script.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's a
Which
little bit
page is that?
different.
this one?
Maybe page 9.
Page
the
9.
refuge, right?
Okay.
Where Mother Racha saw.
Yeah.
So which page is not? I think page, okay, page, look at the page 10. Oh, sorry, this is my
Yeah.
confusing. So, but here, I think maybe easier. So the parable, so exactly same Tibet. So this the English translation different, right? So the parable is page 3. Our parable, page 3. Parable, page 3.
Mhm. Namke tadam namke.
So sometimes we very difficult, right? This visualization whole thing. Maybe refuge tree is probably easier, but even though visualization sometimes difficult. So I do myself is like so kind of reading and with visualization. So not like whole thing. Okay, like if you can't do whole thing, that's okay, like. But here, like we take refuge in the Kant, Root, Lama, and the lineage Lamas, right? So we say, right? So that time is just you visualize three tongue, talk about Vajradhara, and then it's all the lineages, whatever Root, Lama, whatever it is, Vajradhara. So that's kind of your case, or we take refuge, Kant, Root, lineage Lama. So that's kind of like. Just remember, all postations, you can say things, so they just say, so the same with yes, like, okay, lineage Lamas, right? So this easy a little bit. And the next one, we, lineage Lamas, then we take refuge in the deities of the
Mandalas of the Yadams.
mandalas, the Yidams. So that's sort of like first infant tree, right? Or the Yidams or Japa somewhat. But then that time is just only infant. And then, so we take refuge in all the Buddhas. So then right side, you're thinking that's only your right side, all the Buddha Shakyamanis and Buddha's retinues. And then we take refuge in the perfect Dharma. So then it's behind tree, in the whatever Panchaparamita or Dharma. And then we take refuge or the exalted of the Sangha. So then we think our here. So these kind of like become easier. So visualization. And then we back to the dissolution. So dissolution, Solution is also different dissolutions. Sometimes dissolution just okay with generation stage, right? So some with generation stage is what is the
The instantaneous generation.
대인들가 나기 맞아 dissolve
Mhm.
대인들가 나기게 맞아 dissolution 가요레스 dissolution 제게다 그런 것이 단단하게 기노템 노는지 캔데는 그 slowly 되면 제요레스 드네요 텔라부도페 라마다 디바랑 템스야로 베나 잠사 점도 소진랑 템라도 되네 지키노 테리어마 참마만 깨지 템그러와 텔라 되네 페체메나 테이서 린지라고 린지 내가 린지 세야지데 예액 세야 니요레스
Like rimba, rimzins in a rimba.
린지 세야지 예액 니요 깨게 칼리 슬로우리 템그러와 깨게 가서는 그 랑상 깨지기도 오케이 소진 나오랑 템퍼처를 깨지기 소진 되다 그 outside inside 칸을 뭐 깨지기 소진 들어가는 템으로
So, here we have like this gradual step-by-step dissolution that occurs, where, slowly kind of stage by stage, one thing dissolves into the other and then like step by step. But then there's also sometimes in the same way that we have like the instantaneous rising of the form of the deity, we can also have like instantaneous dissolution or kind of disassemblage of the field of visualization. So, for instance, sometimes it says like all of the lineage lamas dissolve into me, or the field of accumulation dissolves into me, and that's like an instantaneous thing. So there are these two categories, like the kind of progressive dissolution of the visualization in stages, and the kind of instantaneous dissolution.
되네 따티 가르치는 것은 practice dissolution으로 와. This is with the practice dissolution.
This is practice dissolution?
Yeah. But yeah, the real dissolution you're yeah. The real dissolution you're 있어서. 디인도 다팅원이 내가 시고서 가상스라 이마 직상계 야마나 직조 상계는 것을 familiar goals 인다 상지 지구 말이 주 가르치기요나 기다미나리 주 지하는 것을 familiar goals 딱 몽골아비어와 디인도 되는 것은 dissolution 당원이 dissolution 처리래 그래서 줄템 주메라템 melonga tembe kabla third part melonga tembe kabla tenen as a physically data five element no functioning charlo
So, and this is really important to understand this. This is why we want to become so familiar with the Buddha, and not just the Buddha, but any Dharma that we're practicing, any deity, any yidam, it takes this kind of really deep imprint of habituation to really be of access to us at the time of death. So when we die, the dissolution the real dissolution will occur, where earth dissolves into the element of water dissolves into the element of fire, the element of fire dissolves into the element of wind. And when fire dissolves into wind, at that point, physically, the elements are no longer functioning. So you're not able to like physically function anymore.
Depending 들리겠어요. 그래서 그 강사기 냠내 요매를 때네. 다 강사 냠내 요매 샤비나. 근데 그 티가 freedom을 이겨서래. 그래서 freedom 딱 내만 오이나 그 physical 그 나타 요래 여기나 양고 담아디 그지 가서 중화 시대 바지 미파 템사를 갈라다 그 부서기 거다 그 유스레스는 차다로 그 배추요 말와 그 배추미리 김센터 때는 그 대담이 나사에 위해서 말와 다 추년에 진행이는 가서 되고다 지겐이 소소해야지 집에 가면 디스르과 당하러 오지
Garay to it neso.
집에 예수로 레스트 지간 예수로 때문에 디스르과로 뭔가 그 다른도 다 지지는 그 자기 위해서 다 처음에 아무것도 희루이 오라고 희루이 오래서 뭐래 니마지 양 가차 근데 계절로 된다고 지내다 그 초바이나 다 중투고서 모스리 머저리티나 와 이나 초바이나 다 디강을 라마지 두고여서로 라마지 돈데 계절로 야 계절로 지분 말이다 디가라 근데 굉장히여서로 주치야라 근데 가서 거기 not bother the sickness the physically 와 뭐다 디가라 근데 다고 가라고지 다가서 돼 이렇게네 디강다 주태야 근데 지 안보 세는 거야 같은 기분이어서 됐어
So it depends, it's different for individuals what kind of occurs at this time, but for somebody who's really a Dharma practitioner, this is a moment where real freedom occurs because in addition to kind of like the breaking down of the functioning elements of the body, there's also a liberation from like the pain or the physical illness that has been that has been being experienced up to this point. And so it becomes like sort of useless.
There's no need to rely on this body. So body is not useless. Body is not.
The body becomes useless. You no longer have to rely on the body, but there's also not illness anymore, like pain or illness. And so for Dharma practitioners, actually, there's a term for this moment. It's called like the rest of death, or the kind of restfulness of death. And at that time, actually, yeah, rest
before the death.
Oh, rest prior to death, like the rest prior to death, prior to like the final death. And so the mind, the awareness becomes actually for Dharma practitioner, it becomes sharper and clearer. And for Dharma, not everyone, most people this doesn't happen, but for a Dharma practitioner, actually there's a sudden kind of revitalization that happens where suddenly they can speak again and they remember the Dharma really strongly, and they have actually established at that time some real independence or some freedom, and so sometimes the people around them think, oh wow, that the person is suddenly getting better. They'll think that maybe they've gotten better at that moment, and so like their complexion is brighter, and they're able to speak, and they're able to really at that time they really deeply remember the Dharma, and they're not bothered by the physical pain or the physical illness anymore, and the recollection of Dharma at that time becomes especially clear.
Why he's not dying? So that can be organ to the country or more.
And so there are also stories of this, and like scientists or doctors will actually think, how is this possible? Why is this person not dead? Like their organs are no longer functioning, but there's so there are actually accounts of that.
That is also dissolution. Also Congo dissolution. Yang user I mean, so 가상 휴가나 게임도 저번에 그냥 너 버리 송로와 나 그냥 진짜 치고 chuka 이제고 공디 양은 공디 useris
Chuku.
no this is the zore. Yeah.
Yine yang chewa chugulamcher or chiwala chugulamcher?
담계단 치와 주클람 제스면서 담기 라비 요런
치와.
거 베테티노 요런
Death.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is why it's also important to really practice the dissolution stage, to become very familiar with, to train again and again in this process of dissolution. And as he said, or as was said before, that we're really actually also practicing both and the indivisibility of the generation and completion stages. But in general with this, like, so as was mentioned with this, dissolution, this final dissolution here that was described, this is then what is referred to as, it corresponds with bringing the Dharmakaya onto the path of death.
Okay, so we have break here, 20 minutes.
Yes, so we'll take a 20-minute break here. I just see something here about the long sadhana being available in English or Tibetan or anything. So I think that the long Hivadra sadhana, I think that is available. We don't have it, but I think that it is finalized, isn't it? The long Hivadra sadhana that they use for the Drichin?
Whether it's finalized or not, yeah, that counts, I think.
So people can access a copy if they want one, or so we don't know the details of that. Maybe I'll inquire into it for you. So in 20 minutes.
Oh, and now. Yeah, it's not working. The video is, so then from both. Oh, is Chalo okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's leaving tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Right, so I like not, I'm like, no. That's okay.
So
Well, I
that's-
thought, I know, and I was thinking maybe you were gonna come today, because I thought maybe, because I knew something yesterday, so it would have been.
No, that's just what.
I I know.
It's easier to like look at something else.
Yeah.
You got your computer right in front of you.
even like listening to things like podcasts and like going around and doing stuff, it just, yes, like, I know.
You got it all worked out?
What were the cats? So what we decided to do is just print out the version I have in my picture box reading from. Yeah, because it's not like it's wrong, it's just a
So-
different, it's just a different.
Virginia?
Yeah.
So if I were to restart this computer, it's not gonna affect anything because it's all going through Dropbox, correct? I mean, I understand the sound here, that's a different situation. If I we're not really using our normal Zoom process. If I restart the computer, that's not an issue.
No, he's not, I don't try it. It's
He's
all right,
gonna restart
just
it.
start, yeah. I'll be right back. Yes. And it's
But
insane.
I'm not gonna start. Everyone's getting it. We got something that works for another hour,
Yeah.
we'll let it go.
It's always chaos. There's no matter. There's some things that are less chaotic. I'm telling you, Anis will be a huge stabilizing force. I can't wait.
When did they come?
Well, we have to get, so, this is something I wanted to talk to you about. So an interesting thing happened. And I feel uncertain because like, you don't know these people, but on the other hand, they say, and this keeps coming to my mind lately, like whatever is something. And like city isn't. And this woman, Sue, who organized the tour for the Gaylord monks, and I translated for them to her here. Yes. No, just recently, actually, I came back from somewhere and I can get accountability to fix them. And I mentioned her, she was talking about, there was this lawyer that got her visa, blah, blah, and I was like, oh, could you give me that contact information, just so we have like another information. She then later got in touch with me and said, she didn't give me that lawyer the contact information, but another lawyer who's not an immigration lawyer, but who's in New York, and then he's friends with an immigration lawyer, and that guy called me, and that guy is like, met the Dalai Lama once in the 70s, and was really, had this beautiful pure view,
Just 1 second.
Yeah, pro bono. I mean,
So that's it.
I hope that's the only thing, I don't know, right? But then it's sort of like if he's offering it, and I mentioned to the group what we do, like I feel really confident about the fact that he's done it so much, but it's free and he's excited, and it's like his connection kind of with the Dharma. I mean, I
See
don't
what
know.
happens.
We'll see what
Okay.
happens.
We need to pull it out of the fire. We got.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, we do. And also Donna said she was.
Yeah, that's another.
That's another one,
Those
yes,
are
it's
good.
not of them, and, yeah, so everyone seems to think, and he's like, ready to do it.
It's funny with the Gaylord because I was in St. Pete, I was coming out of a coffee shop,
Hmm.
and in front of me there was something strange. And so I walked up behind and said, touch it leg, he turns around, and he's one of the Gaylord monks for that purpose, and he knew me, I knew him from another time, and so I was Kentucky going.
Oh, he's in the one, yeah,
So
yeah, he was there, I never met him, but he had met you guys.
that's
Yeah.
right. And so I was talking to him about the clear blue sky, my daily is even in town.
That's awesome.
It was like, he
Yeah.
said, strange, I'm gonna try something.
Yeah. A similar thing happened to me in Switzerland. I was with my friends at a museum, and sure enough, there was a group of, Gaylord monks doing a Samabala there.
Yeah, I know. It's a big small world.
It's a big small world.
All right. Well, we will see what happens with all this silliness later.
Yeah, it'll be all right. I just hope, my concern is, until I want to learn this thing inside and
Well, something is happening that either in the shutdown process or the startup process, somewhere along the way. And it was working this morning because I watched part of it.
Yeah.
I got all kinds of calls, and so, it was left on the same way as it was before, no changes? You didn't shut it down or anything?
I shut it down.
Oh, you did?
I shut it down, but all I did to shut it down, I mean, this is.
You shut the lid and hit the button, right?
Well, I shut down Zoom, right? I
Okay, yeah.
exited moving, eating, and then I shut it. I did the button.
Push that button and then you shut it. So, now you shut it back. It's,
Where if they turn off. So.
So we need to kind of get a little more. support.
And you know, because I think, I don't know what creates that, right? I'm not
Sure, either. My guess is it's just one little setting somewhere. With a restart, it doesn't stay.
Yeah.
That's all my guess.
Well, that
Something
sounds
that's-
like what
something
David
gets out of
told
that.
me, because he said, when I said, oh, I can do it, right? I come out and do it. He said, well, actually, it's kind of more complicated now, there's a setting thing. And he said that, so we need to figure out what that setting thing is.
All right.
did this morning.
You get them very far, yeah?
Yeah, to try to help us, but he can't figure it out either.
No, you can fix.
He can't, no,
What happened?
we don't know.
But it's work, right?
Well, it's working because Drupal and I are logged on separately to the, you know, to our accounts, so. That's why.
Yeah. No, people
But that people are the-
work. But there are
You
some,
know what it is, with teachings like this, you really need to advertise. in advance. So we're waiting too late to announce our stuff.
yeah, also this year,
Because
we
people would
Have to take-
travel,
they
people
have-
would travel.
also know.
And people have to take time off
Also,
work.
this year we did many things,
We did.
training, people tired,
That's true.
you know, teaching, going to teaching.
But also I agree, because if I have to take time off of work, depending on where I work, I have to put that in a couple months in advance, because other people want to take leave too.
Yeah.
But it's also many people, they want it, you know.
But I know a girl that wanted to come.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she can take time off work, 'cause she's the air traffic controller.
Oh, okay.
Elena,
Your friend,
the one that stayed with me from Mexico,
okay,
wanted to come, she wanted to, do the teaching that's coming up this weekend.
I ask maybe a silly question. Pukasi and Shibari and Bondini and Chando are all, or just 4 of the 8 the kings.
Mhm.
Did the other 4 do something different, or they're the same, or they paired with the other 4?
Right, yeah, this
So there was just
no
a.
mentioned,
Oh.
just only 4.
It's only
4,
4.
yeah. So because the 4 imageables corresponding, so they didn't say the rest.
So the question was why just 4 dakinis here out of the 8? There were just 4 that were mentioned in terms of the activities of the 4 immeasurables. And so the question was if the other 4 do other activities. And yeah. And Ruban said no mention. Not here anyway.
Om Benzor Sado Samaya Manu Balaya Om Benzor Sado Dino Bo Dino Dido Mebo Asado Kayo Mebo Subo Kayo Mebo Ahana Rato Mebo Sarva Siddhi Mevaraya Sarva Karma Sudhane Siddhi Shaya Guru Bhagavan Sarva Dada Gata Manzara Mamekanta Ambezer Bhava Samaya Sadhu 다 당긴 가서 제렘디 카톡말 도야 지당 니 제렘디 고 slowly 말씀 소리 너 제렘 소름로 디디디 당가서 지얘기 있어야 되나 카톡말 도야 되스 드네 진지 있어야 돼 칼리칼리 도야 되스.
So there are these 2 terms in Tibetan that signify the 2 types of dissolution process, like the gradual dissolution process, which is jiji, right? And then the rimzin, and then this spontaneous or instantaneous dissolution, which is jiji. Jeji.
Dai, teniamo dai chiudere. Facciamo da page. Omo jene da nyano bendra so bawa imago. He dorje hero ngani ye rangi ngao he jang. He be nada la randa chungwa some stin that wado chokulam chairs things like
Longkulam chair.
that.
So then with the Swabhava mantra, which Dhruvanla just recited, and then it says, so this phrase, which here is serves the function of purification, means I am the embodiment of the Vajra nature, the wisdom of emptiness. And then it says the nada resounds with the inherent sound. So this is bringing the Sambhoga Kaya onto the path of death.
That came to Namjuta Katan Shiva Najiri, the Omenda Armada Kundale, Yomo Yore, Tirana, Omosobo, Huda Sarvadan Sobo, Huda Yore, in Tamoniti, Omosobo, Huda Sarvadan Sobo, Huda Hans, Umbutine, and Jik Dorje, and Hero Tombani Jikatati, Tombarini Ganapa, Ranjik. Now, Google Sarva.
And so that just like the Amrita Kundali mantra appears again and again. Similarly, you have like a regular recitation of the Swabhava mantra, which also appears again and again. And the meaning of that Swabhava mantra, as it says here, like the literal meaning is all phenomena are the nature of Vajra emptiness, or the wisdom of emptiness, and I too am that nature.
In the Dangate, Jerem Bombi Gabra, some of Ambina Tereta, almost Soba Hida Sarvadan, Soba Hida, Judita, Jetan de la Hira Bombani, Jerangi Sunda, in the Rangi Jetene, Bombani La, Bomba Rangi, Bomba Nature, Bomba Tigan Hali or Tin the Tatan logically, Pelila Carson and Masuda, Tiniji, Tomba Machavina, Tandaji, Gidan Roji. ordinary ke chỉ năm họ còn nó thì đang là cũng nhà khảo bộ mà số số nó chỉ tăng bên này chỉ lười nó số nó tăng bên này ta lười gì cũng là số về về nó ta hạ thọ thì này chỉ thông nhiên là số đó thì này thì đi vô đây ta chỉ số công việc như nào ta số công việc vô chứ thì này xem cái chuyện đó chỉ số nó tăng bên này thì này chỉ nó mà là số về nó mà tốt đó số thì này gì vậy có gì gì đang là thế chỉ ta khi còn là gì đang là thế chỉ phải công việc này chỉ công thu nhập mới có đâu chứ đó chỉ no space là ba khảo công bộ đâu chứ cô lưu xem gì còn chỉ là gì đang là công này cô lưu xem gì còn công bộ 어떻게 이제 저기요. 뒤에 있더니 다른 것은 뒤나오나 돼도 오모서 보고 휴다 서버들 모서 보고 휴다 나 머리 들어나이 온반이도 초월 슬라그로와 다 동반이도 가르쳐 버려. 지 나랑 근데 ordinary 지대니 그 류게는 류 동반이 초월로. 근데 샘게요 넘버도 그 템포러리 넘버도 좀 예발로 다 동바샤로. 근데 이 동백만레스 제가 그때 가르고나다 지금 세계에 사장로지 요하다 동백만다 대매 뭐지 라고로 가르고요나 히 한국요나 다 금세 사자 요한다 차디오레스 로직이
So when this Swabhava mantra always appears at the very start of the generation stage, so we are kind of laying the foundation or the ground of emptiness, the wisdom of emptiness, the true essence of all phenomena being that intrinsic emptiness, intrinsic purity and emptiness. So this has to occur in order for the deity to arise. So we have to have emptiness as a basis from which the deity, the Yidam, appears. If we don't have that basis of emptiness, then there's no way that the deity can actually arise. Like if the deity can't arise from like our ordinary conceptual mind, from, kind of our ordinary body, the imprint of our ordinary body as like flesh and blood, with the form of the legs and the arms and so forth, the actual physical form, and likewise the mind of affliction. The deity can't arise from the mind of affliction. So if the mind and body are not purified, within the essence of like their natural emptiness, or if that's not the basis from which we're beginning, there's no space for the deity to appear. We can't meditate on the deity without first beginning from that like original ground, or the ground of emptiness. And so then this is why we recite then Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Swabhava Shuddhoham, and then from within emptiness there arises the ordinary body is purified or becomes the nature of emptiness, and temporarily the temporary thoughts or conceptual proliferation disappears or dissolves, and we begin from that basis of emptiness. And then from within that state of emptiness, what arises first, which is logical, he said, is the environment or the place being the celestial palace. That's, the first thing to arise. Is it? Yeah, Tangpo. Shall you come? Okay. That's all.
No, Tintati, Tonata Malabuasare, Tine Om Telang Gonde Binares, Hunetas and Utombares, Jana Sidi Utam Ihires, and Banda Nimi Ombanires, Soba, the Rangi number Tabares, Imakoha, the Nawas, Atani Contuana Yiki, Secretary Vijayabusara.
So actually it wasn't Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma, but Om Shunyata Jana Bajra Swabhava Atma Koham. And so this is what means I am the embodiment of the Vajra nature, the wisdom of emptiness. Dini. So first then Om is like the beginning of the mantra, the leader of the mantra, so to speak. And then Shunyata is the object or being emptiness. Jana is the subject being wisdom. Vajra is non-dual emptiness. Swabhava is the nature, utter purity, and Atmakoham is I am. So Om, I am the embodiment of the Vajra nature, the wisdom of emptiness. Dene de taryang yang ni tongpe jangchu de. Oh, nimbe. Shiba. Changchu de ni sanchu de. Huh? Okay.
Here you go. So, did you get that? So, then malo chanjo that there is some called bombanes. That's some called bomba that you are to cook lam chair in Sarwa. You were to lam chair. That's the Tina Euro. Malo la chanjo nimbo duba. So, duba to zites, leisure to Mihiba, Sunkor Yang, Dupale Majumwa Tetaras. Tajatangi support the Paloji Mato Mendos in an education as support the Paloji. Very tender. Teneton or Tatanjum.
And so then next is the meditation on the protection wheel or the sphere of protection, which is bringing the Nirmanakaya onto the path. And so it says in Marpa's tradition, one mostly practices for the heart of enlightenment and does not focus particularly on activities. This is why the protection circle is not more than a summary.
Ramle, Yimikin Korchi, Uso Hongle, not so. Not so. Oh, not so. T. They were tell it was that it's a model de Jaran part of me, but to be sour to someone. Yes. Yes.
So it says within the state of emptiness, the syllable Ram transforms into a sun disk. At its center, Hum transforms into a double Vajra with Hum at its center, at its hub. From that double Vajra, countless double Vajra tipped light rays radiate, emanating below the ground. They become the Vajra foundation. So from the double Vajra, countless or limitless crossed Vajras issue forth and emanate down or travel down to the ground and then become the Vajra foundation, Vajra ground.
Dorji core. Tenet Dorji ki Nimali may wazer chair popa Mary. Himo Dorji Jadamle Dorji Chamba father, me to be Dorji Tawa Parmic are convert yours.
So then emanating out to the middle of space, they become the Vajra fence and net. Emanating above, they become the Vajra tent. Then from the sun disk, light rays emanate again, becoming the fire mountain or mountains of fire. From the foundational double Vajra, countless single-pointed Vajras issue forth, filling in the gaps, becoming the Vajra net.
다들
Filling the gaps in the Vajra net, sorry, filling the gaps in the Vajra net.
다들 그 important cardios나 다 가서 딜라 지양 지 physically 근데 지 다들 fence no that 근데 no protection 데 samudana samaris in zo as ninje wa ninje tang dorje se ya de rang sem wada ti in hindi je ke ta ninje kran zo de la tene pena ta koran fence no chalo se pena tele pe khan sa ya ta bo ke ta dorje no so no tang bina dorje se ya koran ji ke zum do dorje chu do na member so ta Kanikanhi, Sawa, Memba, Mihegwa, Majorwa,
Right, Sawa, Dimba.
Mihegwa, Majorwa, I don't know exactly. But Mubo Hiena, Par Mubo Hienke, Pendurki Para Mubo Hiena Par, Jumtoba, Roa, Kandigina. In a Mubo Hienke, Holayan, Dorjeyan, no Matavia, what a Tindiji or this. In a Tilla, Casena. 다 니게당 돈이 송도 되거든요. 정말 총고요 됐어. 인다 딜라 가서 니게당 돈이 때 휴치 모여 다 먹고는 이배. 텔라부도 dorje telpeda dorje kipeda tel fence. Dorje konatini yoris ti gana yang peda dorje gana dorje tini peda jekilo parno sorno peda sama chine tini jek tini dorje mongbo chije long sirga zangyo mo dorje tini jek complete log ya wana yi jek kro log ya sa ko son
Kare.
log ya sen
하고 나서.
대작 좀 melt 로 친든 solar sol로 테너지 그래서 테너지 다 dorje 즈가 즈도 dorje 다 틀라도 롱 스르 장면 메타로 정도 롱용 프로세스 같은 차비로 내려고 이는다 동어마디 직다 뭐 보태지다 딘디게 배트로와 배트니게다 야 가나 파야요 뭐 되네 디가나요 되네 대용도 배는 dorje 게되네 코 쓰는 야 리요로 Tene ti core dorje jam yande ta tene je ke dorje saye ta khanda salia yong tu ya mewa protection you know cholia yong tu ya mewa namne ma yong tu ya mewa ta tene je ke ngopo ti ta ngopo khari ngopo re wa la vina tene tene ta doni ingi sondo joba o tene je ke ta core sondo be protection.
So we have all of these Vajra layers of protection, the physically like the Vajra fence and so on. But if we think about it, like what is the real meaning of this? What is the real true protection? So the meaning is great compassion and the Vajra-like nature of mind, the Vajra being the essence of one's own mind, which is endowed with great compassion, or also, the essence of great compassion, or the indivisibility of emptiness and great compassion. And so the fence, all these layers of Vajra protection is like incredibly strong, invincible. So the Vajra itself is endowed with 7 qualities, the 7 being such as like, they're hard, it's stable, it's indestructible, it's unchanging, so on and so forth. It can destroy anything in its path, so it's able to destroy any other object, but nothing can in turn destroy it. No other object can destroy it. And so the meaning of this is emptiness and compassion, the indivisibility of emptiness and compassion, which is like the strongest force that there is. And so the example for that is the Vajra, it's the indestructible essence. And so that's why we have all these layers of Vajra protection. That's what they represent. There's one layer of Vajras on top of another layer of Vajras on top of another layers of Vajras, and this becomes such a interwoven network of Vajras that not even a puff of air can escape. And it becomes sort of almost like solid. There's so many layers of Vajra that it sort of fuses into like a shell of impenetrable, kind of like a solid Vajra protection sphere that's impenetrable, that there's no way, for anything to penetrate from the outside and nothing to be, to escape from the inside. And so this is the example, that we have from the Vajra foundation, and then we have the Vajra tent and the Vajra canopy, and then, the different layers of Vajra protection spheres, that it can't be penetrated, which is, and what is again the essence of this, this protection sphere, the essence of this protection sphere is, and meaning, the indivisibility of emptiness and great compassion.
Sungmin ko minjung changchopse songa ketang sunga mongbo yore tina yada suksung tubure sunga chod churwade karres labina tine changchopse kisemdes.
And so also, similarly, Vajra himself is the embodiment or the self-manifestation of compassion, just as all of the attributes, of his mandala. Likewise, as he mentioned, each of the 4 dakinis representing the 4 immeasurables. And so this is, actually, like Lord Jigten Sumgön says, that the unsurpassed sphere of protection, or true protection, the true protection is the mind of bodhicitta. So ultimately, who is the most powerful protector? What is the most powerful protection? It really is nothing other than bodhicitta.
Tene de he juba tembar gomhins lensom je romo tangi ba gomosa tene teriam tene re pe nimi kindu to nam gomhin ni de hong chung na chok dorje tini rawa chawa kor chima nambayang mani dos.
So then you have the mantra, Om Vajra Raksha Raksha Hong Hong Hong. So then it says reciting this 3 times and playing music, one meditates with stability, or making it stable. Thus, it is said one should visualize in front that the syllable Ram transforms into a sun. On the sun, the syllable Hung transforms into a double Vajra. And that Vajra transforms into a wall and tent.
Thank you, Sorzon, Kuzum Tok Dudizom, Fonhin, Walker Sorjing, Ningu Jedurkin.
So then the next section is the meditation on the Dharmodaya. So it says in the center of that protection circle or sphere, from A arises a white triangular Dharmodaya. Its sharp point faces downward and its big mouth opens upward, or it has an expansive base on top. There is a standing 3D triangle with the 3 angles at the top and the single angle at the bottom. The 3 angles at the top symbolize the body, speech, and mind. That is to say, the 3 Vajras. The angle at the bottom symbolizes their heart, Vajra.
Tene pamle na so pema thang hongle na so dorje rawa chungni ji chobin do chen ji dewa do chen ji dewa lamle sai ji go chhe serbu te de do pamle chi ji go ndombo karbo te de do lamle me ji go chozong marbo te de do yamle long ji go dagam tokaji se wara cho sa.
And then from Pam appears a multicolored lotus, and from Hung arises a 12-pointed double Vajra marked with the colors of the directions. At its center from Lam arises a square yellow earth mandala. Atop that, from Pam appears a circular white water mandala. Above that, from Ram appears a triangular red fire mandala. On top of that, from Yam arises a half moon-shaped, smoke-colored wind mandala. Oh yeah, okay.
Changjek ne son jung ye lu do to za ju le rikpa sa wo pa cha je sa ne tele je ban jo changsen here na ba ye chu yen kam ne ju wan jo ju ba le ne chu je de do ba long le ra da ta ye zong so ju ji sim tian tam ji ju ye le chung de cha ja chen bu ti le le nam ye le ne je we long tele me ne ju wan jo tele jibi chuyinbi tele wangjian jiawanju xieso sumi jedurji ene yungi ludoki jeremtang holo denjola yungi lungbungos.
The arising, abiding, and ceasing of the container, the universe, unfolds with the 4 elements in reverse order, as in the Hevajra Tantra. Earth arises from contact as the property of hardness. The water element arises from bodhicitta in the form of semen. Heat arises from friction. The wind is known to be from movement. The contents, sentient beings, arise from the 4 elements in forward order, as in the Tantra of the Tilaka of Mahamudra declares. From consciousness, wind is generated. From it, fire arises. From it, water is born. And from it, great power appears. Thus, Hevajra explains a generation process with the 4 elements in reverse order, and Chakrasambhara with the 4 elements in forward order.
I don't know English. What's a juba? Juba ne 2 years on what? Juba 2 years. How they come from feet? What they say?
From feet?
Heat.
Oh, heat. Heat arises from friction.
What means friction?
Then that they chick shen la yang, then that they darwa nangshi. Let's see.
Right. That Juba say that thing friction is somebody something. The difficulty Karsena. Juba sena jetan long tila sarita, long yogurwata, penacha in another. เป็นจ้าขึ้นมาทีนี้งั้นลงดูเนี่ยที่ลงที่ทีนี้งั้นตัวมาละสุทำงานสุดท้ายลงกองเนี่ยทีนี้ที่ก่อนทีนี้ลงอยู่เนี่ยลงอยู่ไปต่อทีนี้ลงอยู่ไปต่อทีนี้งั้นสุดสุดที่จะจุดทำทีนี้ heat 착유해서
Thì công thở 양철 뜻은 성공은 가인스나. 오케이. 네.
이제 줘봐서야 돼. 나를 때문에
Yo 말해.
이상하레스.
이제 요한.
롱이사레스. 요와이사레스. The reason 가레스 라비나 가르치는 것보다 for example 어서 또 몰라서 봐 공부요레스.
네.
수돌지. 저한테 때도 돼 배트리 charge요. 돼 건강하게. 왜 컴퓨터래?
Yeah, we can't have the battery suddenly die.
어티엔듀티네 베나다 도모로 위나 테네 나조다 담보 베자 자본 그러와 자지라 롱봉 그러와 오다 딘디 롱근도 주네 베나나다 도모로 소와 히트 가리나 양다 디기까나 강다 디다 롱도 이제 고요사데 주바 롱 뭐도 베다 데 프라이시면 상나와
They guys in the jela droa lung du raptuta. So the young dela movement but anyway, so he thinks that maybe friction is not the correct translation of the word or the verb that is used here, which like literally means like movement, to stir or move or arouse, and so maybe agitation is actually a better word, but he says the reason he thinks it's more connected with like wind and movement is, for example, we have heat, that's where heat arises from, because for instance, when practicing Tumo, then there is, first you meditate on the channels, and the winds, and it's through kind of the arousal of the wind that the heat is generated. So there's this like causal relationship between wind and heat. Okay, and so
the here bus to bus to the law was like main part of this generation process.
Oh, okay. So then the main part of the generation process is, which is the six limbs of the generation process.
Tene hiengang ji bala no chu ki jesu chapi nyembo hiengang tenang denba ta kombas. Tenang denba kombas.
The box should okay, money to gasare.
Tie tene rongren holo garbo tse sumchi soni bo ki usu rangi nambar hiba namka nada. 차제그 효과 된 제발이 희행한 투기 보이 따박 해당 우수 때만 담아지비 개사다지비 두루지지 보고 좋으세.
So the first one meditates on the palace, the celestial palace, as the support and supported as the antidote to attachment to the world and to sentient beings. Thus it is said atop that when meditating on the Buddha, in the body of emanation and absorption, that is the limb of the great victor Vairochana.
Yeah.
Yeah. And imagine that
I
from
get the Sarvadharma.
and okay. And imagine that from the syllable broom arises the abode. It is also said, meditate on the singular nada residing at the center of the mandala, and this is how the meditator will generate or arise. On top of the elemental mandalas, from broom arises a 32-spoked wheel. Within that, one's consciousness, the space nada, enters and they intermix, then transform into the four-sided immeasurable palace with the four arched gateways. At the center is an 8-petaled lotus with pistil, encircling that are the 8 charnel grounds.
So we not much time, so you can see the video. This is just basic. I think we have the fact of the families, 4 directions. So sort of like I don't follow this probably not doesn't matter, but you can see if you want to write down. So this.
So there's this chart here, you can see, with these different kind of qualities and attributes of the different 5 Buddha families. So they're, all connected with different colors and different directions and seed syllables. So first you have in the center the Buddha family, which is white, which is connected with like the central or center of the directions, the center. Also the element of space. The seed syllable is Bam. And it is the wisdom of the 5 wisdoms, the all-encompassing wisdom or the wisdom of Dharmadhatu. And its impure form or the affliction is ignorance or unawareness. And then you have the lotus family, which is like connected with the color red, and the direction is west. The element is fire. The seed seed syllable is ni, and its wisdom is discriminating wisdom. And the affliction is craving or desire. Then you have the karma family, which is green, connected with the direction of the north, the element of air, the syllable sa, and the wisdom, which is the all-accomplishing wisdom, and its affliction, the affliction is envy or jealousy or competitiveness. And then the Vajra family, which is connected with the color blue, the eastern direction, the element of water, the syllable ha, and its wisdom is the mirror-like wisdom, and the affliction is anger. Then you have the Ratna family, which is connected with the color yellow. The direction is south. The element is earth. The seed syllable is ri, and its wisdom is the wisdom of equanimity, and the affliction is pride or arrogance. So we can, if you want, we can pass. A lot of people already know this, but for some people it might be new. You can pass this around. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this can be seed syllables that you can changing. So this actually one having this up. So but seed syllables can change a lot. Om sarva dadam gada nila dam bandara sobhava ima bohans. Ima bohans.
Diwakashi do de matodutu.
Okay, that's all I can. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just noticing that there are some questions on Zoom. So maybe first, since we don't have a ton of time left, we'll address these questions because I think the Zoom questions get lost after we reboot. So the first question is the Dharmadaya like an inverted pyramid? And then there is a picture of the, can you look in your chat box? Of the,
Where?
kind of the double Dharmodaya, which is like the 6-pointed star that's 3-dimensional with the point going down, that like Vajra Yogini.
The double dark.
Like meaning instead of just a triangle, like a star,
Right.
right? But this one is just a triangle, right?
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Maybe the star gets over.
Yeah. So yeah, so there's the image here, like the star, but it's actually just a single triangle in this case. It's this like it's just like that, except for instead of like 2 triangles on top over one on top of the other, it's just one triangle. And then yeah, this is just the same thing. Sometimes it's just one tetrahedron or pyramid. I don't know for Hibadra. So yes, that's right. It's just one.
One question.
Okay, so sorry, it was just one question.
Okay, so you have questions? Do you have some questions? Not too extensive.
Drupal, could you give a little bit of detail about the like the tent and net, the Vajra tent and Vajra net and Vajra canopy, and exactly like kind of how those are here? I know they're covering, but I'm not totally sure I understand exactly how each specific one is working.
Right, so you said Vajra tent, so it is Vajra fence, right?
I'm okay with the Vajra fence. I think I understand that one.
Okay.
But
So,
like the tent,
Gur,
yeah, and the net,
Ladre,
yeah, like those are.
and Drawa, Dang Ladre.
Right, so I think this actually this here. So the Vajra canopy, right? Vajra canopy or Vajra kasa, or the core.
Gur.
So canopy core is look like kind of like dome.
A dome, like a dome.
Yeah, dome, right? And
The
then what's
tent.
that? What this or tent or canopy?
And
or,
then Drawa.
Tower is just net. First, the net and what tower la net what. These kind of layers are what the net knows. Net la layer.
So it's like lots of layers and like interlaced.
Okay.
Like a net, just like a net.
In the net, the famous week, the net doing that, long jukes and Uyorwa, Konetic, Tambokana, the Wajira netic, so we are. The Tigana, young child, the layer netic, Tigana, young, the Jita, Unguna, young Jordan, do you Wajira or Shat, making. That's how much is completely kind of solid.
But so he was saying, like ordinarily we have a net and there are like gaps in between. So if you think of first, there's like a net made of Vajras, but there's still like gaps in between. So then outside of that, there's a layer, where like there's more coverage. And then on top of that, like more Vajra coverage. And so that it gets to the point where it's so thick that there's no gaps in between.
So then they said the finally is the solid. Like we look like that is mold.
Molten. Maybe molten iron, you mean?
Not molten.
No. Oh, okay.
Mold.
Mold.
How is it in English? This we melt this metal.
Yeah, molten iron. Oh, a mold.
Mold, yeah. Mold. Yeah. They said they call it low Japanese. They typically call low. Low means just this solid. These days, yeah, they have same thing like heavy duty metal beams. So the metal beams, you put what is the metal melted, and then whatever the foam, and then it's make the beams.
Yeah. Okay. Mold. Yeah.
Cast. Like cast iron.
No necessarily cast iron. No. More.
Molten.
No, this.
I think he means a combination of there's a mold and then there's molten iron poured into the mold so
Right,
that
but
it
the
like,
test is the same
right?
idea, right?
Yeah.
It's, you pour it into the thing and you take it out and it's in the shape of it.
Right,
It is-
yeah.
It is a cast, that's.
Right, so this Tibetan, this actually here said, okay, these layers, that layers, this much, this much, this much. They finally said this just log yabanagi. Log means just kind of solid. But kind of my imagine is just kind of solid, but kind of like their warriors, image,
like a solid wall of Vajras.
Right, so this look like a bit, just
Interwoven.
image, like, okay, Vajra, this, the Vajra, this, Vajra, this, Vajra, so sort of like that. Okay. So this is kind of like both, maybe tent or canopy.
Yeah,
or-
kind of like what's the
these
difference
are
between a
fence,
tent and a
both like
canopy?
kind of
They seem
similar.
similar.
And there's also, they said the Vajra foundation or Vajra ground. So sort of like, idea is you cannot harm anything, like, this, bomb go through air, is protected, and also something bombing from the underground, they protected, or whatever the side.
From whatever direction.
The directions they protected. So sort of like that's area. But what is that is they cannot destroy anything like law of compassion. But
Love and compassion.
okay.
Thank you. Drupala, the charnel grounds in Chakrasambhara are inside, these are outside. correct?
So the question was the charnel grounds of Chakrasambhara or Vajra or both?
Chakrasambhara.
Oh, Chakrasambhara,
And
inside.
this one-
In this side one, they're outside. Is that's the question?
So what means you say outside?
Did
So like you
do
set up the protection sphere and Chakrasambhara and the charnel grounds are inside the protection
the
sphere.
sunkor nang la yore de la yang sunkor chulo la yore do denda
At least in
tongindo
the southern side.
de pena de duptap nang la denda tongsong.
That you mean that is the Wajar fence, right?
Correct.
But de dutro de chiro la yore.
Yeah. Normally, yes, the 8 channel grounds outside.
But dimcho la de nang la yore la kundo. He's not sure.
You said Chakrasambhara or this one?
Dimcho no dimcho la nang la yore de nang la chilo la yore.
My question is, in Havadra, the charnel grounds are a different organization than in Chakrasambhara. It's different.
So
Yeah, Eric, go ahead.
I think maybe on page 24, bottom line, 23.
Yeah, we have come here, but
Committee is gone.
yeah, so okay, so I don't know the Chakrasambhara, so okay, so okay, so you have more questions? For a few minutes. Then we next one channel ground. So okay, okay.
So a lot of times in the deity generation stage, text, like for Vajrayogini, right?
Mhm.
We have a Chujung, the Dharmadaya,
Mhm.
but then sometimes in the text it says 3-sided,
Mhm.
but then sometimes in the mandalas it has 6 sides.
Mhm.
In like Vajrayogini, have you seen both?
You're right. So this mandala is yes. So this the kind of the double, chunju. Particularly Vajrayogini. There is the Vajrayogini actually 2 different mandalas. One is like this double. What is the
Double,
Star.
like a 6-sided,
right 6 point, and also this is regular one.
a 3-point.
Right, 3 point. But the visualization is, I think, mostly you see this Otomo, everything is just 3
The
side.
one, yeah.
like, and yeah,
So there is somebody, and this, yeah, I mean, are we sure that the charnel grounds are outside the protection
We
sphere?
are coming now.
Okay, in this one, because here someone also says charnel grounds are outside the palace is generated from the broom inside the tent. With both chakras, Ambara and Havadra. I mean, anytime you see a mandala, the protection sphere is on the outermost rim, so.
In the long Nairatmya Sadhana, they're explicit that the charnel grounds are inside.
Are
In the long-
inside, yeah.
in the long Nairatmya
I
Sadhana.
mean, I've never heard of it being reversed, but,
That's
Yeah.
okay. We can.
okay.
Okay. So we stop here. So just your dedication.
Okay. So the dedication on page 24 of the third book.
So there I show you I have 100 mandalas. So it
Oh, okay, yeah, let's look at them. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings and samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. The teachings of the great Jagumpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
But here is actually this, I look, so normally these 8 chanagrams, it is within the one chanagram, there are 8 different things, or 8, 1 stupa, 1 tree. But here it's look like more than 8, so.